Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West in Wicked, is more than a misunderstood character. She's a living, breathing critique of societal norms and systems that marginalize, vilify, and ultimately destroy those who dare to be different. Her story is a profound, gut wrenching satire of systemic oppression, exposing the mechanisms through which power is maintained and dissent is silenced. I'll be talking about the different themes that are inherent in this character as we experience them in the different societies that we live in. And the first here is the politics of difference. Elphaba is born with green skin, a physical difference that becomes a metaphor for any trait society deems other. From the moment she enters the world, she is judged not for who she is, but for how she looks. The green skin is her first crime against the established order, a visual cue that she will never belong. Through Elphaba, Wicked critiques how systemic biases target individuals who deviate from arbitrary norms, branding them as less than or even dangerous. Her journey through Shiz University highlights how institutions perpetuate these biases. Despite her brilliance and compassion, Elphaba is relegated to the fringes, forced to fight twice as hard for recognition while enduring ridicule and alienation. The audience sees how society ostracizes those who refuse to conform, labeling them as wicked simply because they challenge the status quo. The second theme is the weaponization of narratives. Elphaba's story is one of distorted narratives. The wizard and his regime craft a public image of her as a threat to Oz's peace, leveraging propaganda to cement their power. Her acts of resistance, born from a desire to fight injustice, are reframed as villainy. This is a powerful satire of how institutions manipulate truth to maintain control, casting those who question authority as the enemy. Elphaba becomes a scapegoat, a tool to distract the public from the wizard's own corruption and abuses of power. In painting her as wicked, the wizard creates a convenient villain to unify his followers under a banner of fear and hatred, echoing real world tactics used by oppressive regimes throughout history. Theme number three: systemic hypocrisy and the cost of integrity. Elphaba's moral compass, her refusal to compromise her values, is what truly sets her apart and what ultimately seals her fate. She refuses to participate in the wizard's exploitation of the animals, a marginalized group in Oz, standing up for their rights even when it costs her everything. In contrast, Glinda, who represents privilege and compliance, is celebrated for her performative goodness, despite her complicity in the system's injustices. Through this dichotomy, Wicked lays bare the hypocrisy of societal definitions of good and evil. Elphaba's unwavering integrity is punished, while Glinda's surface level virtue is rewarded. It's a heartbreaking commentary, on how systems uphold those who confirm and crush those who resist. Theme number four: the weight of misjudgment. Elphaba's transformation into the Wicked Witch of the West is not a descent into darkness, but a surrender to inevitability. Exhausted by constant rejection, betrayal, and the weight of societal scorn, she embraces the label forced upon her. Her wickedness becomes a tragic act of defiance, a way of reclaiming agency in a world determined to erase her humanity. This narrative exposes how systems dehumanize uh, dissenters, stripping them of their individuality until even they begin to believe the lies told about them. Elphaba's journey forces all of us to confront our own complicity in perpetuating these dynamics. How do we accept the narratives fed to us? Do we question them? How do we allow systems to destroy those who dare to challenge them? We have two more themes to go, but I would like to digress a bit and talk about a few scenes from the movie that, struck a chord in me. And those of you who've seen it, please feel free to disagree or agree to my notions, of it. When she was singing the song, The Wizard and I, and she mentioned things like not being enough. Uh, she's hoping that being associated with the wizard will make, her father be proud of her, her sister not to be ashamed of her anymore. She was hoping that the wizard would, most probably change her color so she looks like everybody else, and finally be accepted. She knows that she's good inside, but she's hoping that with a different appearance, she would match what is inside. She wants her exterior to match her interior. And this begs us to think about how we relate to people who care about us. What do we say to them? How do we act toward them? Because most times we don't really pay attention to the words that we speak and to our actions and how others take it, especially people who are close to us. Also, I found I found a dance in the library with Fierro and Glinda quite interesting, especially when he said the words "life is painless for the brainless." Dancing through life. Take a moment to think about this for those who've watched it. Is life really painless for those who are brainless? Because sometimes it feels like people who really put in effort, who strive for meaning and all of those good things, tend to have a harder life, than those who don't operate from a very shallow level of existence, for lack of a better word. Elphaba was singing about meeting the Wizard of Oz. Her desire was that she would look better than she did. But guess what? When she meets the Wizard of Oz, it was for salvation for the animals who were oppressed. So that goes a long way to say. And Elphaba was singing about meeting the Wizard of Oz. Her desire was that she would look better than she did. But guess what? When she meets the Wizard of Oz, what she asks for, the kind of person that she was, right? One other thing that is of note is her song. Something has changed within me, which was a moment of, it was like an aha moment for Elphaba because all her life she wanted to meet the wizard, she wanted to matter and all of that. But then when she had an opportunity to wine and dine with people that were in the position of power, she realized that all was not what it seemed. And so when she woke up to that reality, she realized that she was good enough. She realized that she had to be the change that she needed in the world. She was good with her green skin. She was good with her rejection. She was good with it. She woke up and she knew that it was too late to go back to who she was because she is everything that she ever wanted. She is everything that she ever wanted. Another thing of note for me was, the use of words, the kind of words that we use when talking to people. When Miss Morrible, in vilifying Elphaba, she used the words, "Her green skin is an outward manifestation of her twisted nature. This distortion, this repulsion, and a whole lot." These words tore Elphaba apart. Lastly, I'm going to point out, the song "I'm Not That Girl." Again, she woke up to the reality that, okay, I like this boy, But it seems like he has chosen conventionality. He has chosen the girl who has gold hair with the gentle curl, which is quite different from who I am. And she also talks about the life that is cut out for people who are like her. You know, people like her should not lose sight of who they are, because life of people who are not a convention like herself is not rosy and full of pearls. It's a life where you have to put double the effort to get the things you want. You don't have the privilege of being soft. You don't have the privilege of being, for lack of a better word, you do not have, she did not have the pretty privilege. I related with that strongly. Please feel free to, like I said, agree with this or not, or point out more scenes from the movie that touched you. Theme number 5: Hope in Defiance. Despite the heartbreak, Elphaba's story is not without hope. Her love for Fiyero, her friendship with Glinda, and her unwavering sense of justice are testaments to her humanity. Even as she is cast a villain, she continues to fight for what is right, refusing to let the system define her completely. Elphaba's legacy is a reminder that true change requires courage and sacrifice. Her story urges us to see beyond appearances, question authority, and fight for a world where difference is not punished but celebrated. And in the end, Elphaba's life is a searing indictment of the systems that oppress, the narratives that deceive, and the societal norms that prioritize compliance over compassion. The last theme, theme number 6, is the need for allyship. Elphaba's story underscores the critical importance of allyship in dismantling oppressive systems. Her journey is marked by moments of isolation, where the absence of steadfast allies magnifies her struggle against systemic injustice. Glinda, even though initially she was complicit, she represents a potential for transformation when privilege is recognized and wielded for good. The narrative highlights how allyship requires more than performative gestures. It demands active solidarity, courage, and a willingness to challenge the very systems that confer privilege. Elphaba's plight is a poignant reminder that no one should have to fight alone, and that real change is only possible when individuals join together to stand against oppression.